Let's sort out all these developments with Ben Goldberger, assistant managing editor at Time magazine. Ben, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start with the McCabe firing. And I want to point out that in a phone interview with CBS News, McCabe said, "I strongly believe this is the latest chapter in a year-long attack on my credibility and service to the country." What are the political ramifications of this?
We don't yet know the extent of them, but the firing itself, certainly the timing of the firing, McCabe's response to it, and also the president's response to it last night, ensure that the scrutiny on the special counsel's investigation is only going to intensify.
The president seems to be pursuing a go-it-alone approach on hiring and firing. So what is that? What are the implications for Robert Mueller and his probe?
I think we don't know directly what this is going to mean for the probe itself. It's not clear if the firing of McCabe is going to have a material effect, but McCabe was very clear in no uncertain terms in both his statement and then in multiple interviews with CBS and with other reporters that he believes this was an attempt to sideline him in part because he could corroborate James Comey's testimony about Mueller's investigation and potential obstruction.
Do you think it suggests that the president is open to firing Robert Mueller?
Does it suggest that? Certainly. But we've always known that he's potentially open to it. I mean, trying to get inside this president's head is something of a fool's errand.
Let's look at the shakeup we've had in the White House, which appears it may continue in the coming week. What's going on here, do you think?
In some ways, the president is starting to settle into the job. That this is the way he has run the Trump organization. He is the only president we've ever had without any military or political experience. His only frame of reference is a private business that he oversaw in which the only constant was his position at the top and everybody else sort of hovered around him. It's starting to resemble that a little bit more.
It is easy to forget that earlier this week the president fired Rex Tillerson. Mike Pompeo is likely to take his place. What are the implications in terms of foreign policy, given how many things the administration is juggling on that front?
Indeed. Although I don't think we should take it as a complete given that Pompeo will be confirmed by the Senate, which does need to happen, although I think it's very likely. But he is far more hawkish than his predecessor, Rex Tillerson, certainly on the Iran deal, which he has been very outspoken about, and in that way is consistent with the president. He would like to nullify it or essentially weaken it to irrelevance, and also, most pressingly, with North Korea, in which he has even floated the notion of preemptive war.
Does this delay the potential summit with Kim Jong-un?
I think there's no doubt that it complicates it. But the president's aides were walking back the logistics about that almost as soon as he announced it.
Yeah. Although the president has said he wants that meeting to happen by the end of May. And he said that recently.
And the one thing we know about this president, if he says he wants something to happen, it may take a while, but eventually he will get fed up with anyone standing in his way of that.
Can we talk a little bit about the special election in Pennsylvania and what that portends for 2018, both for Democrats and for Republicans?
I think it certainly bodes well for Democrats, and Republicans should be somewhat scared about it, although we shouldn't read too much nationally into the race. Paul Ryan, in the immediate wake of it, tried to downplay it. He said that Conor Lamb was essentially a Republican. He played up many of the conservative trappings. Privately, however, he was telling his aides to alert the rest of the caucus that this is a wake-up call. They needed to start fundraising immediately. They needed to hire staff, that there are a lot of members who weren't ready for November, and they needed to see this as a four-alarm fire.
This also exposed some fissures within the Democratic Party, too, because there were some Democrats who were complaining that Conor Lamb wasn't Democratic enough.
Well, that's exactly right. And I think that one of the reasons that Conor Lamb was able to sort of win as easily as he did is that there wasn't a primary, and that won't be the case for a lot of other candidates. Conor Lamb was essentially able to run just as he was without facing something of an ideological purity test from his left.
Big existential questions for each party. Ben Goldberger with Time. Thanks for your time.